What makes the upcoming local government elections the toughest since the dawn of democracy? Why is the Independent Electoral Commission calling for an increase on its current 1.5 billion budget? And how has the Constitutional Court's order to rerun the Tlokwe by-elections impacted the IEC's credibility? And what is the IEC's position on the political status of the PAC? What time is it? It is question time. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpho Tseidu. The ability of the Independent Electoral Commission to hold credible, free and fair elections has come under the spotlight. This after last year's Constitutional Court ruling that ordered for the rerun of the 2013 Tlokwe by-elections following a number of irregularities. These votes will be held next month. The challenges faced by the IEC are some communities who are opposed to new municipal measures by the Municipal Demarcation Board, as well as service protest. Another area of concern is the low number of registration by young citizens. There are only 289,000 registered voters aged 18 and 19 out of an eligible population of approximately 2 million young voters. A reminder that we are live, and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 0891104210. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. And you can also join us on Skype. Just send us your username via Twitter. My guest, Glenn Mashining. He's the IEC chairperson. Chairperson, welcome, and thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you, Mpho.
You held a briefing earlier in the month.
Yes.
Let's just recap on the gist of that briefing.
This was the launch of the 2016 municipal elections.
Yes.
And in the process, we were sharing with members of the public and our political stakeholders the electoral preparations and state of readiness of the Commission with respect to those elections.
Are you ready?
Yes.
That's how simple and easy it is.
Absolutely. The Commission has been preparing for the good part of the last 18 months before where we are today.
Yes.
We were just held back with some of the new developments that came about with respect to the demarcation changes.
Okay.
And so the demarcation process precedes us going into the municipalities and determining the voting stations.
Okay.
So that particular process only completed in December by the Municipal Demarcation Board. And now our part has begun.
Do you have the money?
Yes, no, we do have the resources. Okay. The budgets are provided through the MTF process every year, and so far the budgetary requirements of the Commission have been met by the Treasury. Okay.
Let's look at the slide that we have on our screen. I'll just request our director to just bring it back there. Registered voters for 2016 local government elections. Is this the correct figure, 24.95 million? And voters aged between 18 and 19, 289,000 only. Is that the case?
This is the number of the voters as at the last election, which was our national election. Okay. But the voter population and the numbers have changed since then, according to Stats SA. However, the number is not significantly differing from that one. But with respect to the age 18 and 19, which is the area that we highlighted in our launch, is that the estimation is that close to 2 million young people at that age are eligible to register, but they are not registered. So we're talking almost only 15% of the eligible youth are registered. And so our call is that we need to mobilize our young people to participate in the democracy of our country.
That's a very interesting point here, bullet point. Registered parties, 282. Are we still at that figure?
The party registration process hasn't begun.
Okay.
Yes, that will only happen at a later stage.
Yes.
These are figures that are indicated what happened in the last election. That's where we were.
Okay.
And once the political parties come through, yes, you may have even more. Remember, you have independents that are coming in,
okay,
and the municipal election is different also from national and provincial.
Yes.
You have close to probably 4,500 different VDs that needs candidates. So there can be as many as that.
Okay.
But at least at the moment, we are hoping that probably there's also consolidation among the various political parties.
So when it comes to local government elections, you're saying the possibility is this is where you get your fetahomo tshwaremo to political parties?
Yes, but remember, it's only for each particular voting district.
Okay.
So it's not that all those particular parties would be actually spread nationally.
Okay.
So the number of contestants would vary in terms of the local government elections. And it's really nothing unusual.
Oh, okay.
Because it's individuals in that particular VD that make themselves available. Yes.
There was an issue here. I remember the last time, I think we touched on it a bit, on the observers. Is it observers or your personnel that is running the elections? And there were concerns around the involvement of SATU members. And recently there was talk whether or not teachers must be allowed to serve as observers and all that. What's the...
No, this is the issue of the voting station personnel.
Yes.
And at each voting station we have a presiding officer and a deputy presiding officer, as well as other officers in that voting station. Over the period of time since the beginning of our democracy, we've seen a significant decline in the usage of civil servants. I remember that the elections of 1999, actually, it was voluntary public servants.
Oh, okay.
And so over the period of time, the Commission has actually brought in young people to give them an opportunity to gain the experience, has also brought in other members of the community in those areas. So we're only remaining probably with the about 10% of the total personnel that is now in the voting station, which is close to 250,000 people that are actually working in each voting stations. Now, there has been some concerns that were raised by our key stakeholders, that is the political parties, with respect to that those some of the teachers, not all of them, belong to certain unions that have indicated their alignment to other political parties. So as such, that is now the issue we are actually dealing with. But we have to also balance this matter with the constitution of the country and the provisions of the labor laws of this country, the right to association and the right to organize. So as the Commission, we are working on this concern in a balanced manner, and we don't make any decisions about the appointment of the personnel. That process goes through the party political liaison structures, and those people are approved by the political parties, and if there's any objection on a particular individual, we then look into that matter.
But does it matter as to which party does one belong? Because I'm trying to imagine if you're going to say you want people who are not aligned to particular parties. Why then should presiding officers be allowed to vote?
Well, they do have their constitutional right. You can't deny a person a right to vote. I think the issue is more about that we need to ensure optimum impartiality and perception of independence and fairness of our personnel,
which you
across all the tiers of the organization. And so I think that particular concern and those issues are valid to be taken into consideration. What we do point out also is that we have to be practical and pragmatic. There are areas where you may find you won't be able to get a voting station unless the owner of the facility or the school is comfortable about whom do you give that responsibility. Further, people who are part-time are also a risk to the commission, because if a person gets a job, they can just dump and leave the following day. Whereas you find that if you have in the community the teachers or some of the eminent members of the community being the presiding officers, they have what you call the required stability. And the other thing is that there's a certain level of administrative managerial maturity that is required in that role.
Hold it there. I want us to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking your calls 089-110-4210. If you've got a question for the chairperson of the IEC, we'll be more than happy to take that call. And you can also join us via Skype. Send us your username via Twitter. This is Question Time.
New Castle Milk Stout Chocolate Infused. Savor the moment. The crafted chocolate stout made to be savored responsibly by people over the age of 18. Mancosa, Southern Africa's leading distance learning institution. Accredited, affordable and accessible management education programs. Higher certificates, diplomas, undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. Register at Mancosa and be part of Southern Africa's leading private business school. Visit our website mancosa.co.za. Mancosa, management education reimagined.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. Before we continue, let's have a look at this clip by IEC Deputy Chairperson.
The intra-party tension and conflict, it's one of the most difficult issues because we don't have powers in law to deal with those kind of issues. Now, the problem that presents itself in relation to PAC is that you've got quite a number of judgments that have been made against different groups within the PAC, which makes it extremely difficult for us to know exactly who we should be dealing with. So, because we've been interacting with the PAC, we decided perhaps we should actually get all the groups together in one room, have a conversation with them, so that once we have resolved your issues, it becomes easier for you to participate in the process and you don't say that the IEC has disadvantaged you.
Okay, my guest today is Glenn Mashinin. He's the IEC chairperson. Now, chairperson, I know that's something that Mr. Tsalani said there. Let's just clear this PAC thing. Is the PAC banned by the IEC from participating? Their factional battles seem to be continuing. They are now going to the Electoral Court. What's the status of the PAC?
At this stage, we're still in discussions with them, and our position is informed by the judiciary. The decisions that come from the courts have indicated that one contestant was the legitimate structure, and then a subsequent appeal said it's another party, and therefore the matter is now headed for a further appeal. So as such, we as the Commission, we will await until the matter has been resolved by the courts.
Okay. Sam, you are calling from around Gauteng.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm well, thanks for the call.
Right, yeah, and the SABC played that advert of the PAC which portrayed a very negative picture, and they repeated it so many times. And I hear that the IEC is wooing youth to vote, but the IEC must get its house in order. And on the SADC issue are members of the ANC.
Sam, wait. Sam, before you continue, you are now on the third issue now. You started with the PAC, I don't know what happened to it, and then the IEC must get its house in order. Let's just clarify that before we get to the SADC matter. Sam?
Hello?
Yes, I was saying, firstly, what is your issue regarding the PAC, and then we'll get to the one where you're saying the IEC must get its house in order. I just want us to deal with these issues systematically before you get into the SADC matter.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so on the PAC issue,
yes,
I said the SABC played that clip so many times that the PAC is banned. And that thing portrays a negative picture. Portrays a negative picture on the viewers, especially members of the PAC.
Okay.
So I'm faulting the SABC for repeating that thing. We members of the PAC have got no problem.
Sam, which PAC are you a member of? Because
there's
clearly there are two
PAC.
PACs. No, you are not telling the truth. There are two PACs.
There's only one PAC.
One is led by Letlapampahlele, the other is led by Mbinda.
I don't belong to individuals. I belong to the PAC.
Okay. Fact of the matter is there are two PACs. Let's get to the second question.
There are not two PACs, I'm telling you. And I want to find out from your guests there.
Yes.
Are they prepared for the parties to examine the software of their computers? Where do they get their software from?
What has that got to do with anything?
It's manipulable. Sedu?
Yes.
Sedu?
Okay.
Can you tell me which country has free and fair elections in the world?
Well, South African elections...
Just give me one example.
South Africa.
Yeah?
South Africa.
You are joking. You are kidding. You are kidding, and you are laughing. You know that you are kidding. And on the issue of SADC members should not.
Yes.
SADC members should not be running elections. They've been running elections so many times. Here in Kagiso Hall, one person of SADC, ever since 1994, has been presiding officer. Is there no change?
Thank you very much for the call.
Sure.
All right. That's Sam Ditseho there in Kagiso.
Yes.
I don't know if you've got a word or so to say.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the SABC. And the Commission's position has been articulated repeatedly, first by the Vice Chair, and I've also indicated the position of the Commission. And the political parties are our clients, and I don't want to engage them over the media. Suffice to say that the PAC is not banned. At this stage, we are just saying the matters are before the courts. We are awaiting the courts to clarify for us as to which particular grouping do we recognize for electoral purposes, and that's all.
Okay. Ayanda, you're calling us from Tlokwe.
Mpo,
Bab,
how are you, sir?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
I'm good. Just want to greet your guest there on your studio. I just want to have a simple question here, Mpo, to your guest there.
Okay.
We have seen reports in the newspapers and other news platforms that there have been some ballot boxes with people's votes that have gone missing. And I just want to ask your guest there as to what is it that the IEC is doing to ensure that such incidents do not continue to transpire in the future, because those are very important votes for the South African people. They need to be protected. So I think we need to have a system where we ensure that whoever does pick up those ballot boxes, they are trained people and they are people that can be trusted with those voters.
Okay.
With those ballot boxes.
Thank you very much, Ayanda.
Yeah. No, thanks, Ayanda. I think you've answered yourself. That's what exactly that the Commission is focusing on, ensuring that there's optimum training. Secondly, is ensuring that there's optimum security of materials. Now, one incident we know that is unacceptable, but there are situations whereby some people do make those mistakes. However, what we're emphasizing in our training at the moment is that people must ensure that they uphold the highest standards of the performance.
When we talk of your state of readiness for the 2016 local government elections, at what percentage would you put it?
Well, I think with respect to, for example, the registration process, all the required logistics and materials are already on board.
Okay.
Similarly, most of the materials and the requirements that are related to the preparation for the election itself are underway and at a very, very advanced stage.
Okay.
There are some areas where, due to the demarcation process, that we are actually anticipating that there will be some slight delays. But we hope we should be able to get through those things. Matters that are beyond our control are those that relate to the responses of the communities or responses of certain political parties, if they take matters to our courts or they have any civil unrest.
Okay.
But by and large, I think the Commission itself will pull through. I mean, there is sufficient time for us to be in a position to say we can execute this.
Talking about time, what's the possible date which we're looking at for the elections?
Well, it is prescribed in law. It is that from the 18th of May till the 16th of August, anytime the minister can then prescribe the date of the elections. We are supposed to have, in that 90-day window, we are supposed to be in a state of readiness.
Okay. And how far are we from electronic voting?
Well, there's aspects. If you look at the value chain of the voting, there's different aspects of what you call ICT components that we are introducing. However, as a country, it's still a matter that still needs to be debated as to whether our political environment has matured enough that we can advance into a complete 10-key electronic voting system. And interestingly, some of the studies are indicating countries that have gone that route are reversing. So there are challenges about the the ability for us to do that. But technology has been there. I mean,
so where does the software that you use come from?
We have in-house capability that is tried and tested expertise. Included in that also we augment with service providers that are specialists in that area. So, however, what we do is that the processes and the systems are fully audited. Whether the veracity of the counting and the results takes place in front of everybody. That's why it's important that each voting station political parties must ensure that they have their agents. Observers are there. The media is also allowed in those places. Our systems are audited from an ICT point of view, and also by an international auditing firms. So those particular results, we are quite comfortable that their systems have got robust checks and balances.
Now, perhaps finally, if on the day of the election, I happen to be in Chipata or Gweru or Gwanda or Marondera in Zimbabwe, what happens?
Well, you have to be in your voting district, because we're talking about municipal elections. You have to be in the voting district that you belong to, where you're registered, for you to vote.
Chairperson, thank you very much, and we wish you all the best with the coming responsibilities that lie ahead of you.
No, thank you very much. We appreciate, and thanks to all the listeners.
Okay. That was question time for today, and I want to promise that we're going to try and get the 2 PAC leadership right here on question time to come and talk about the PAC once and for all. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.